All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Coffee Break with Dion and Jim. I'm Dion. This is my buddy Jim. Welcome. Little late start this morning, but starting next week, we should be back on schedule, right?
Should be.
Should be. Why? Because you are been released from the beast.
Once I'm vindicated and relieved.
So today's topic, I thought we'd talk a little bit about this because it's becoming a hot topic. I know you're not really that like plugged in, I guess, to the whole presidential campaign and just general like political spectrum right now. But a big topic right now is misinformation and disinformation. Once again, right? In 2020, that was a really big deal. 2016, it was a really big deal. What's really interesting is before that, that term hardly showed up at all.
Yeah, we called it lying back then.
Yeah. You can track the appearance of the term misinformation and disinformation. And, around 2016, it really ramped up.
Well, it became a really, like a household term during COVID.
That's a good point.
That is where like that word, became synonymous with like, I don't know, talking.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because God forbid you share your opinion. I mean, but I do want to say this before we go too much further. There are some stories that are circulating around right now that I don't know if I would call them misinformation, disinformation, or, somebody made a mistake, because that actually happens. So have you heard of, I think it's Sean Ryan is the guy's name. He has a podcast, and
the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think he's pretty successful with it. He had published a story where it talked about the photo op that Harris had done with some supplies that were going to be taken to the hurricane victims in North Carolina. Well, the claim during the show was it was one of the officers actually that for the National Guard where the photo op was staged. And it was that plane actually never intended to leave the runway, that it was all for a photo op, and those supplies did not get delivered. Now, to the guy's credit, Sean Ryan, I just saw a video before you came here today where the guy said, look, this is the information that we had. We were told this. We got some different information. And long story short, they looked at the flight log. So here's what the final version is. That plane where she staged the photo op did not take off. It had mechanical failure. So they transferred all the supplies from that plane to another plane, and those supplies were indeed delivered.
See, and that's the problem that we're having nowadays is like we live in this instant society.
Right.
So all of these, and I use the term loosely, news outlets are in such a race to get stuff out first. Well, you heard it here first.
Exactly.
Not
you, we're always right, but you heard it here first.
Yeah.
What is it? Speed over accuracy. That's what's valued these days. You have to be the first one with the story. Otherwise you don't go viral. Right. Otherwise you don't collect the clicks. If someone else reports on something first, then
even though
it's all the same.
Yeah. Like word for word.
Oh yeah.
Word for word same. And it's all editorial pieces.
Well,
there's no real news anymore.
Right. And that's one thing I will say with the rise of AP, Associated Press, right? With the rise of AP, it's almost as if journalists, companies, journalists stopped doing their own work, and they just started reprinting AP and routers over and over and over.
Yeah, which is funny to me because, just my interpretation, the whole idea behind Associated Press was, so that there wasn't a proprietary news outlet.
Yeah.
Where it was like, okay, we're all drawing from the same pool
Right.
of journalistic integrity and
Mhm.
accuracy, and you couldn't be any further from the truth.
Right. Right. So, in your opinion, okay, as someone who I would say doesn't really consume that much as far as, not just regular news sources, like you don't sit down and watch Fox News or CNN.
No.
You generally get most of your news how?
So, couple ways.
Okay.
And the first way is mostly just for my own entertainment purposes.
Okay.
I will look through the Google headlines
Okay. Okay.
just to see, like,
That's where you go to the little Google thing and you hit the G button, right? And
Uh-huh.
it brings up
it
the
brings
top
up-
stories based on your preferences. I get a lot of video game related stuff when I do that because that's what I tend to look up,
Mhm.
when I find out like something interesting.
So, like I said, that first one is just for like my own personal
For entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
Right.
My second way is I have a daily email that comes to me
Okay.
from 1440 News.
I've heard of them. What do you like? What do you think of 1440?
Okay, so 1440.
Before you go any further, we're not sponsored. This isn't a sponsored thing.
No, this is just something that I use.
Yeah, neither one of us makes any money off of this. So,
and I don't pay anything for it. It just,
okay.
You sign up for it, and once a day, with the exception of Sundays.
Okay. Everybody needs a day off, man.
Yeah. It gives you like a list of headlines.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be like non-biased.
Yeah, it's supposed to be neutral, but we've seen how that works out.
Well, and the thing of it is like they're just headline brokers.
Mm.
They just look at what's in the news and they go, okay, here's what we found.
Okay. Okay.
And if you want to actually go to the news articles, you can click on the little buzzwords in their little synopsis.
Right. And that will take you to the original article.
Yeah,
or
it'll take you where they got that information from.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
So.
And it's free.
All
right. If it's free, it's for me. If I got to pay it.
And some of it's relevant, some of it's not. It's, into sections like an old newspaper. You'll get, your headlines.
Okay.
You'll get sports, which I couldn't give a shit about.
Right.
Entertainment and culture.
Yeah. Did you ever, just not to cut you off, but were you ever a sports guy? Like, did you ever watch football or
not
NCAA
to any
like
real
that?
degree?
Okay.
Like, there have been, several brief times in my life that I would, like watch the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, back in the 90s when the Bulls were having their big run.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, fair point. Yeah, and then a little bit before when the Bears went to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Oh yeah, back in '85.
Yeah,
the last time the Bears were worth a shit.
I mean, right.
I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, being as close to Chicago as we are.
Right.
The Chicago teams are a big deal around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love them or hate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
Oh yeah, Super Bowl shuffle.
Oh yeah, Super Bowl shuffle.
Oh yeah, man.
It's very. Have you watched it?
The Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah,
I watched it. I think I watched it like maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
It's cringe.
It's super cringe, dude. It's super cringe.
But like back then, it was
amazing, man. Oh,
it made it onto like hip hop cassettes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was back in the day, man. It was the shiz. Yeah. Anyway.
Last time Jim McMahon was like relevant.
Yeah. What did he go on to like do anything?
Well, okay, I didn't follow his career closely.
Yeah,
I did watch the Super Bowl that year, and he got out of the game fairly quickly.
Yeah, I know.
They were out for blood. As far as he was concerned, like they made it personal. They
wanted to hurt him.
They did hurt him.
Yeah,
like they destroyed him. I want to say that was pretty much the end of his football career.
Yeah,
like they screwed him up bad, and then like the last time I remember seeing anything about him was when he was advertising those cheap ass paint guns, gotcha guns.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember those, man. Those were,
and then he just kind of faded into obscurity.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he made, I would assume, I mean, he made a decent amount of money in his little run up to and including the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of a testament to like how good of a quarterback you have to be when the opposing team, their whole strategy is, sweep the leg.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Some Karate Kid-esque type.
Yeah. Because like I don't know if you saw that game, but like the play that he got, I dare say, decimated in.
Yeah.
Like they blitzed him, and one guy hit him low, and another guy hit him high from the opposite direction, and they basically put him in a press.
Oh my God, dude! Ouch!
Yeah,
ouch!
And the next thing you know, they're carrying him off the field.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun.
And it wasn't enough.
No, of course not. It never is. I mean,
he was out of the game, but that just kind of rallied the Bears even more.
Right. Yeah. I will say, like, he was I guess the iconic quarterback for the time.
Well, I mean, he was, you're right. He was kind of the quintessential quarterback. He was young, he was the young jock. He was cocky,
right.
He was very self-assured.
Okay, so you get your news from this 1440. So you generally have a pretty good idea of at least most of the rudimentary headlines that are going on.
I know a little bit about a little bit.
Okay.
I don't generally spend too much time poring over the news simply because of the realization that it's all lies anyway.
I mean, yeah, there is that. there is that. Okay, so you've seen the whole oh dude, did you see where Bill Clinton talked about Laken Riley? And he had a Harris Waltz hat on and was like, this never would have happened if we properly vetted the immigrants coming across the border. Did you see that or no?
I did not.
Oh, bro. Okay.
No, this is the first this is the first time hearing about it. I'm not surprised.
Right. Hold on.
By the sheer audacity
of
it.
It's funny because it goes even further. I'll show you. Let's see here. Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, here it is. All right, so let's right.
We're gonna need a little fucking.
Yeah, we're gonna need our little
doodads
to ensure that you guys don't get echo. I got a couple of videos still out there that I really need to edit, take down, and get the audio fixed on. But in the meantime,
all right, let's see what we got.
Okay, so here we go. All right. All right. For you guys can't see, Bill Clinton says Laken Riley's death, quote, wouldn't have happened if illegal immigrants were, quote, properly vetted at the border. Here's the video.
Yeah. That's saying the quiet part out loud.
And
you had a case in Georgia.
Memology 101 is the channel. Love this channel. Here we go.
Not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen, and America is not having enough babies to keep our populations up. Okay. So we need immigrants that have been vetted to do work. There wouldn't be a problem. And he couldn't keep people all torn up and upset.
Wait a minute.
A young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
Now I love the old man speak here.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, here's the guy with his, with his ball cap on and his, plaid shirt. Tell us a story, Granddad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you see where he went to McDonald's, I think, and the chick thought he was Joe Biden? Did you see that one or no?
I did not.
All right.
Like, first of all, why is anybody listening to this clown
Right.
in the first place?
Right. That's a very, very good question. And okay, hold on. Let me get to the other thing. Okay. Here's the other one that I wanted to show you.
That's just a testament to what happens when he doesn't have his wife's hand up his ass.
Yeah.
Fucking moving his mouth for him.
Yeah. Telling him what to say and how to say it. What I find really revealing about that video is even they know that the current policies are unsustainable.
Well, yeah. I mean, how you can't not know.
Right. Which makes me further believe that this shit's completely intentional rather than incompetence, right? Intention rather than incompetence. However, so what he followed up with was, but we still need immigrants in order to come and work in my house and do my laundry.
We're not having enough babies.
Right.
What?
Now, well, what's really funny, right? Okay. What is, remember, they bash Tucker Carlson for what they call white replacement theory. Have you heard of this?
No, but I think I know where this is going.
Okay. Basically Caucasian Americans are not having enough children. And so the powers that be, PTB, right, are bringing loads of immigrants in order to offset the population decline. Okay. Or at least non-population explosion, right? Well, Clinton just admitted we're not having enough babies. What's really funny is the left claims that this is misinformation from Tucker Carlson, that this so-called theory doesn't exist and it's full of crap and he's a racist and he's a right-wing this and this, that, and the other, right? But even good old Billy boy.
Well, it's just like those the anti-hate group that was kicking around the Trump head.
Yes. Okay. If you guys haven't heard about this, I may be able to find it, but there's this so-called anti-hate art group that was playing soccer with a soccer ball modeled after Donald Trump's head. And they're
encouraging the public to, kick it around and,
right. But, love and acceptance, ladies and gentlemen. Love and acceptance.
The only way we can counter hate,
right, is by kicking someone's head.
Yeah, it's by decapitating somebody and kicking their head down the street like a can.
Right, exactly. The self-awareness, or I should say lack of self-awareness on some of these people is truly stunning. I mean, stunning. Here is another example I have for you. Here we go. Okay. Tim Waltz admits he doesn't even know what a venture capitalist does immediately after calling out JD Vance for being one. There you go.
Now, I appreciate folks who did this, and I am proud where I grew up. I wouldn't trade that for anything. And Senator Vance, he became a media darling. He wrote a book about the place he grew up, but the premise was trashing that place where he grew up rather than lifting it up. This guy's a venture capitalist cosplaying like he's a cowboy or something. I don't even know what a venture capitalist does most of the time.
You, sir, are an idiot.
Yeah. So,
well, this is the guy who doesn't know how to, work a shotgun either.
Right.
Which-
Allegedly, one that he's owned for a while. His brand new shiny hunting clothes, right? That obviously have never been worn.
Brand new, what is that, Beretta A400?
Yeah, Beretta shotgun.
Which is interesting because just a quick little
Yeah,
side note
yeah.
there.
Are you familiar with that model?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I am familiar with somebody who owned one.
Okay.
And we went snow goose hunting, and he had his brand new shiny Beretta A400, and he did exactly what Tim Walsh did.
Okay.
Where he would load the shells in, and when he put the last shell in, they would all dump out.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
I don't know if that's a Beretta thing.
Yeah.
I didn't look into go, what are you doing wrong, man? When you see that.
Okay.
But I watched this guy do this for 15, 20 minutes. Dunk, 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 blah, dunk, 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 blah. So when I saw the Tim Walsh video, I'm like, I had that Leonardo DiCaprio moment. I'm like,
right, the meme, yeah. Yeah, the whistle and the I can't do it right now, but yeah.
I'm like, I've seen that before.
Right, yeah.
So maybe that is a common thing with the Beretta.
Yeah, maybe.
Not to defend Tim Walsh, but
right.
This is one of those cases where you think if you have enough money, you're a hunter.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna spend $1,000 on a shotgun.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. You've actually been hunting, and you're not an expert. You never claimed to be an expert, but you've actually gone and hunted. And he was going pheasant hunting, which I've never been pheasant hunting.
Okay, well, I have.
There we go.
I have been pheasant hunting.
Allegedly, he was going pheasant hunting. That's what they claim.
You can do it with that kind of shotgun.
Okay.
I have.
Okay.
Because that's what I had.
Okay.
I didn't have the Beretta. I had a Mossberg.
Right.
But it was a semi-auto.
Mm-hmm.
I used it for waterfowl.
Okay.
Because snow geese is a whole nother set of rules. But that's what I had. So that's what I used.
Right.
For pheasant hunting, and they work just fine. But it's not traditionally when you'll see avid pheasant hunters, they will use a double barrel. They'll use an over under, a side by side.
Okay. Rather than a pump action.
Right. Rather than a semi-auto.
Okay. Why?
Because, well, for one thing, using a semi-auto for pheasant hunting, because you have to flush a pheasant out.
Okay.
You're not waiting for it to come by and then taking a shot at it when you get a chance. You've
Okay.
got a dog. You're flushing the pheasant out.
Okay. So generally the dog goes, flushes it out, and then you take your shot.
So you're not dealing with groups of them.
Right.
You're not, where they're going to be coming from.
Okay.
Because you see where the dog's going.
Yeah.
So you don't need a whole lot of, rapid succession shots on this thing.
Okay.
If you can't take down a pheasant in 1 or 2 shots, that and that's all you're going to get anyway. Because once that pheasant is flushed, they haul ass.
They move pretty darn quick. Huh?
Yeah, and they're gone. It's not it's very rare that they're going to go up and then come down 50 yards away. They're just, you're watching them drift off into the fucking sunset.
Yeah, a little speck. Okay.
So you really,
you don't really need
2 shots is really what you're going to need.
Okay.
So, they use side by sides, over unders, a lot.
Right. Okay.
It's number 1, it's all you need. Number 2, it's more sporting. Yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
So, this guy using a freaking $1,000 freaking, and I'm guessing at the price tag.
Right.
But
you haven't priced one lately, but
yeah, it's up there.
Anything Beretta is generally up there because at least I found it's quality. Usually, it's not perfect. There are some issues with some models, but in general, Beretta has good quality control. So, at least in my personal experience.
Yes, I mean they're Italian.
Right? Yeah, it's not German engineering, but it's German adjacent.
Yeah. What if the Axis powers?
Right. Yeah. mean, it's not V2 level, but you know.
Yeah, it's not Hitler's, but it's a solid Mussolini.
Right, exactly. Anyway,
But you know, it's
I haven't tried to get banned in at least a week. Every week, man. I swear to God, with this guy, it's a roll of the dice, man.
Yeah, I'm keeping it classy.
You are. You're keeping it classy. Yeah. Anyway,
No,
we
you
won't even
shouldn't
go
have
into
to-
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to edit this video too much.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I watched him fumble with that gun, and here's what it comes down to for me, right? The person that you went with,
Mm-hmm.
the weapon was new to them, right? They had just gotten it or really hadn't utilized it that much, right?
Hadn't used it. It was
Right.
like, you know, it was clothesline fresh,
Yeah.
which
And-
is not. When you're in the blind is
Yeah.
not the time you want to familiarize yourself with
That's the key, really,
with your
is-
tool, which I've done it. You know, I've done it quite a bit. You know, it
Really?
happens, but you know, I was using something that I knew worked.
Mm,
You know,
right.
I like things that are very user friendly.
If any of you guys out there are familiar with the Beretta shotgun, and you guys know what we're talking about when it comes to load and get to the last shell, and they all go,
Yeah.
Let us know if that's a feature or if
Well,
that's
I'm
like,
sure it's not necessarily a feature.
well, you know,
maybe a quirk.
feature, right?
Yeah.
You know, a feature in quotes, you know.
You know, if there's like some sort of, you know, switch there that's
Right. Is
like
there-
maybe
yeah.
you can accidentally bump or anything.
Right.
Because I don't know. I
don't know either. I've never owned a Beretta
I didn't
shotgun.
handle his shotgun. I didn't want to handle his shotgun.
Right.
I had my Mossberg.
Come on,
and
man. You know you had thoughts of touching that shotgun.
no, I'm like, I've got this
I'm using
Mossberg that works
euphemisms,
great.
man. Anyway, go ahead. Anyway, no, you had all your equipment that worked properly and you were familiar with. Why
Mhm.
there's no need to use someone else's weapon. I mean, unless like when we went to the range, myself and my middle son, we were at the range and there was a guy there who had like lots of really high end.
Well, the
weapons.
range is a whole.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But in the field,
yeah.
the field, especially in a hunting scenario, that's not the time to use something you're not
this
familiar
is, you know,
with.
this is on the clock time.
Right,
You know?
exactly. So I can only guess based on the video that I'm sure you guys have seen by now. If you haven't, look it up. It's kind of old news now, so I'm sure you guys have seen it,
Mhm.
where he's fumbling with the gun and, you know, obviously he didn't know what he was doing.
Mhm.
Now, is it because he just bought the weapon? Obviously his hunting clothes were new. So my guess, he's probably, if he's ever been hunting, I think it's been a while, maybe he decided he wanted to go out and get some new clothes, grab a new shotgun. Now, but the claim, to my understanding, the claim was he's had this gun for a while and this is the gun that he always uses.
Well, you can have the gun for a while. That doesn't mean you've used it.
Right. But he always, you know, uses the da-da-da-da-da.
Mhm.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
The new hunting clothes, hey, whatever, man. We all need stuff. The guy's got money. There's no reason not to go and, you know, get new gear if you want / need new gear. But to pretend that he was familiar with this,
Awful lot
and
of pretending going on
there-
where he's concerned. isn't
that's
there?
it right there. That is it right there. Okay, so the crux to me is we have so many people speaking out about misinformation and disinformation on the right,
Mhm.
right? The hurricane cleanup is a perfect example. During the last coffee break, I think it was that one, we talked about how this claim that the FEMA director was assaulted. The video that accompanied it wasn't of that. It was for something completely different. And then the guy's like, oh, it was just for context. And ding, 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 ding. Look,
Mhm.
like you have said before, you believe that a lot of these quote misinformation, disinformation type scenarios are intentional.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the point where like you can't do it this much on accident.
Okay.
You know, like it's one thing to like, oh, I'm in such a hurry, I didn't fact check this story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not fact checking anything. Like I said,
Right.
many times, you're not reading the news anymore. You're reading editorials.
Mm-hmm.
The second you put your personal opinion into any article, the second you make shit personal, you're not reporting to the news. You are not a journalist.
Right.
You are doing an editorial.
You're an activist.
Yeah, you're promoting.
Right.
You're giving a slant.
Yeah.
And a true journalist, someone with journalistic integrity, does not give a slant.
Right.
They report the news.
Right. Right.
They report the facts.
The facts
and
of the case. Right.
we're not reporting the facts anymore.
Yeah, we've gotten way away from that, man. Way away from that. So here's my slant on it, right? We're seeing all this pushback for, against mis and disinformation on the right, and how, Elon Musk is ruining Twitter, and it's a bunch of right-wing lunatics, and it's this and it's that. But when someone like Waltz makes the claims that he makes, he's allowed to say something like, well, I misspoke, and, my grammar is bad, even though he outright lied, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he makes, claims like he's a gun expert, or at least enthusiast, and he goes out and can't even handle a shotgun.
Yeah. You can only get by on those excuses for so long.
Right.
We're like, well, you know what I meant.
Yeah,
that's not what I meant to say.
Right. Right. And I have said it before, and I'll reiterate one more time. And that is, if you can attack Trump for a for a sentence or a partial sentence taken out of context, like the media loves to do, find people on both sides as an example, the mocking the disabled reporter as an example. These are out of context things that the media just blew up, right? For ridiculous reasons that turned out not to be true.
Yeah, when everybody decided that he told the world to drink bleach.
Perfect example.
That's
right.
not what he said
that's
at
not
all.
what he said at all.
I mean,
right. But if they can make such a big deal out of a single snippet of a Trump speech, then why can't we make the same big deal for outright blatant fucking lies, man? I mean, we're talking about a guy who claimed he was in China during the Tiananmen Square protest / massacre, right? And then was called out on it during the debate, and his best answer is, well,
yeah, I was in Hong Kong at some period of time in that decade.
At some point,
I'm one of you guys.
Here it is. Okay, so it's a little bit longer. Let's see here. Okay, here it is. I want to show you this real quick. This will be the last little clip, but this is what I was talking about earlier when I guess Bill Clinton, for some reason, went to McDonald's. And
he's got to get his Big Mac on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he has to get his Big Mac on. Let me show you guys this real quick. You guys have probably seen it, but he hasn't. And Georgia McDonald's worker mistakes Bill Clinton for Joe. Listen. Listen. You Joe? After Bill Clinton. Oh! Yeah, dude.
This fucking unreal.
I know.
Now, and then
Joe.
Well, let's talk about this for a second.
Sure.
Because like this is funny.
It is.
It's real funny, and it it's like old white guy looks like old white guy looks like old white guy.
Old ex-presidents tend to look the same for the most part.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Well, his face is like, okay, yeah.
It was just a giggle moment.
You get a little chuckle.
Yep.
But this here is probably a very glaring example of how clueless most people are in current affairs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's like you don't even know what your sitting president looks like. He's
Yeah.
on TV all the time.
Right.
You know, it's just the sheer fact of the amount that people make fun of him.
Right. You
should
would
tell you.
Right. You would think so, man. I mean, did you hear? Okay, so apparently now this is stuff that I've heard. I don't have any like proof, but allegedly I heard that Kamala Harris claims she worked at McDonald's. Okay. So Donald Trump said he was going to go work at McDonald's, right? For a day. And then he will have worked at McDonald's longer than Harris has.
I mean,
now, whether he does or not.
Well, first of all, we need to quit taking these little schoolyard jabs at each other, man. That shows a lack of fucking integrity. And, you know, just, is this really the person you want running the country? Is, you know, some petty school kid?
Okay, so apparently, actually, okay. People were saying, no, that was just a joke. That was just a joke. Trump expected to work fry cooker at McDonald's this weekend in Pennsylvania. Trump to work the fryer at McDonald's after branding Harris's summer job fake. So apparently he is actually, which I'm not sure is better or worse. I
mean, it's whatever.
It's whatever. I know you're not. Okay, so for those of you kind of, you know, new to Coffee Break, I'm a Trump fan. I've only gotten more of a Trump fan because in the beginning I was kind of like with the Twitter and with the jabs, yeah, you know, verbal sparring and, you know, this and that and the other. But number one, the state of our country has gotten so fucking insane that I live for it, man. Now I love it. I cannot. I would argue that I would be far worse. I fuck you, bitch. Like,
I mean, there's
based on what he's gone through, man.
You just have to sit back and laugh.
Right.
And you're right. Like,
after all the shit they put him through, multiple impeachments,
the thing you got to understand about Donald Trump is no matter what happens, Donald Trump going to be all right.
Right. That's true.
You know, this man has brought himself from like the brink of ruin so many times. And people
like to dog on that.
People talk about like, well, look at how many times he's, you know, how many failed businesses he has and how many times he's been bankrupt. And yeah. And the dude's rich again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, how many divorces has he gone through? Well, how many times has he been raked over the coals in divorce court? You know, and he keeps just bouncing back.
Right. Well, I think one of the biggest like viral moments out there, for good reason, in my opinion, was during the 2016 election. Prior to it, he had a debate with Hillary Clinton. Remember that? Did you watch that debate?
Bits and pieces. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen clips. One of the clips is when she's talking about how Trump doesn't pay his taxes or he should pay more or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And Trump said, "You made the rules.
Yeah.
You don't like the fact that I don't pay enough in taxes? Change the law."
Yeah. Basically, he said, "Don't hate the player, hate the game."
Right. Right. Exactly. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, especially the Trump haters, right?
Well, and it's real easy for somebody to go, well, you should be better than that. Like, even if you know that the system's rigged and you know, you should have the integrity to go, no, this is wrong.
Yeah, let me pay more.
And do the right thing.
Right.
What?
Yeah. How many?
Why? Why would you like?
Exactly. And bear in mind, and I've said this on multiple occasions, rich people can afford tax lawyers and accountants. Those are people that their job is literally to learn the loopholes.
Yeah.
That's their entire
any
fucking
business.
job. Yeah, but I mean, truly wealthy people can afford the best.
Any successful business has to know how to navigate
tax laws,
the economic quagmire of
Yes.
the government.
Agreed. And so there's a lot of hate directed at Trump, who is just doing what he's doing, especially prior to running, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's just having his businesses. He's doing his business shit. And he pays his lawyers and his accountants take care of this, right? And they just tell him, okay, you're going to have to pay X amount. And he goes, okay.
Well, and we don't talk about Hillary Clinton's taxes,
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Yeah, because for one, it's easy to look at Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump and go, well, obviously Donald Trump's a billionaire. Hillary Clinton is only a multimillionaire, right? So of course Donald Trump should pay more. Of course Donald Trump this, that, and the other, right? But Donald Trump made his money by being a businessman.
Yeah.
The Clintons made their money how?
Politics.
Exactly. So that's why there's, a very salient meme that's like,
I don't apples to apples.
Right. I don't care how Trump made his money. I don't care how much he paid in taxes. I'm more worried about the politicians who entered office with X amount and made an astronomical amount, Yeah. It's disgusting. The Obamas, man, as a prime example, after leaving the presidency, they were worth a ridiculous amount of money compared to going in.
Right.
So how do you make that much money?
And the funny thing is we like to pick and choose the rich people that we decide need to pay their dues,
their fair share, right?
Donald Trump. Oh man, we need to just take all of his money. He doesn't pay taxes. Taylor Swift becomes a billionaire.
Right.
Oh yes, Queen Slay.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah,
man.
You're not wrong. And
nobody's clamoring for her fucking money.
Yeah, people want. Where's the overwhelming cry for
they're
her
paying
taxes?
thousands and thousands of fucking dollars for tickets for her fucking,
so they can sit behind the stage. Did you see that?
No.
So one of the venues, the tickets are of course astronomical, right? But the way that it's set up, right? You got the big stage here, and there's actually seating on the other side of the stage. So all you're looking at is a video screen. You can't even see her. Why the fuck would you pay for that?
Yeah.
Like genuine
thousands
question.
and thousands of dollars to go somewhere and watch TV.
Right. You might as well. Yeah, exactly. To go watch TV.
Not even on the IMAX.
Right. Yeah. It's one thing if you were going to the IMAX, man, the 4D stuff, but no.
Yeah, that's the thing is people, they want to pick and choose their reality.
Right.
Inevitable. Like some sort of fucking buffet, some sort of existential buffet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mystifying, and another like example of that is when, for example, during the pandemic, right, we had that, or at the end of the pandemic or something. Anyway, we had that interview with Nancy Pelosi, and she's in front of her Sub-Zero freezer, which is like a $10,000 refrigerator with this expensive ass ice cream in there. And there are people who literally can't afford a Happy Meal.
Yeah. Food.
Yeah. The basic of food. And it just goes to show the massive disconnect between the people that are making laws for the rest of us, because those laws don't apply to them. They never have.
Well, it's even like, yes, we know that. If you don't know that, you're
delusional.
You're just disconnected.
Right.
Everybody knows that. The thing that boggles my mind, and it was glaring during the pandemic, was just people talk about, we need to help each other more. We need this and that and the other.
Right.
The second there was any kind of perceived crisis,
it was
mobbed. people are buying up all the toilet paper,
Yep.
the ramen noodles,
Yeah.
like you couldn't get those things at the store.
No,
Like
no,
we
they
were
gone.
we were literally in bread lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm standing in a line outside of Meijer for an hour and a half to not get chicken ramen noodles.
Isn't that crazy? Speaking of ramen noodles, man. So let me bring it up so I can make sure I give accurate information because I want to make sure I give accurate information.
Yeah.
That's not.
Anyway, while you're looking for that, just a little PSA. Ramen noodles have like zero nutritional value. Like they are not good to sustain yourself on. Just throwing it out there.
Right.
The
Yeah,
next time
they're not good for you at all. At all. Interesting.
What
okay.
What are you looking for
So-
exactly?
Someone I know had texted me, hey, look out because there's some kind of notice, I guess, going out about parasites or something in ramen noodles, right? But I can't find it. I can't speak to the, to the validity of that. But I was like, I don't really eat instant ramen anyway, but I'll pass it along because my middle son does have instant ramen, but I'm not able to find it. It keeps bringing up the movie, the ramen dish from the movie Parasite when I try to Google it. I'll worry about it later. If you guys want to look into it yourself and let me know whether this is true, false, or
I mean,
something
it wouldn't
else.
surprise me to find out that. I mean, there's parasites in everything.
Right.
Like,
right. But I guess some kind of really bad, like beyond the little, tapeworm, or I guess it's supposed to be pretty bad. I don't know. I don't even fucking eat instant ramen.
Oh,
But,
look, another day the sky's falling.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, but that's why I was looking it up because I wanted to make sure you guys have accurate information. The best I can tell you is I can't find anything on a quick search. That doesn't mean it's not real.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's.
yeah, who knows anymore? I mean, let's face it, anything and everything in the store to a greater or lesser degree is trying to kill us.
Yeah,
So.
but my original point being that, when the chips are down, people will eat each other.
Oh, yeah.
Figuratively speaking.
Yeah, and eventually, literally.
Yeah, like, all of this, goodwill and hope and, all of that stuff goes right out the window when it's their ass on the line.
Oh, yeah.
It's real easy to sit back an armchair quarterback and talk about, we need to do, so much for these people and they're suffering and the second it's in their backyard.
Yep. Yeah, not in my backyard.
Yep.
Remember that? Yeah, there's a very real thing there. And it's generally these people who speak the loudest, right? About, we need to help these people and we need to donate this and we need to do that. But if you try to open a halfway house in their neighborhood, woo,
Yeah.
holy God, right? Not in my backyard. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody wants this stuff. Not everybody, but most people want this stuff, but not in my backyard.
Oh, they're all, keen to be sanctuary cities.
Yep.
Till
they start dropping them off. Yeah. Then all of a sudden it's, no.
I thought you were a safe haven.
Uh-huh.
You can't have it both ways.
And that is a prime example of what we're talking about. Right?
You think because you're up in New York or you're, in freaking Minnesota, you're in Minneapolis or whatever, you're, far removed from the border that you can go, come here. We'll welcome all.
Yep. Yeah. Until they do. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's, we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the social programs. We don't have the space. We don't have the this. Yeah. No,
because somebody else does.
Right. Of course.
Well, I mean, don't put out the invite if you ain't got the seat at the table.
Right. Yeah.
That's, like going, hey, you should come over and have dinner sometime. And when when I show up, it's like, oh, I didn't think you were actually going to come.
Right, yeah.
I didn't make enough food.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Well, then,
why'd you
put it out
invite
there?
me? Right.
Empty platitude. That's all it is. That's
Yep.
all people want anymore. is
Virtue signaling.
Empty platitudes.
Yep, yep. Empty platitudes and straight up virtue signaling.
Mhm.
It's just something that.
Yep. Prayers and good vibes.
Yeah, yeah. So, I guess the culmination, right, is with all of it's very difficult anymore to know like what's actually happening versus what is claimed.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Like, what do you use to determine whether something is true, false, or otherwise?
That's a tricky question because I immediately assume that whatever I'm being told is probably false.
Okay.
But I'm the kind of person that looks both ways on a one-way street.
Right.
That's just how I am. And I've said before, I'll say it again, that this culture of misinformation on both sides is by design, not to get you to think one way or the other, but just to have you like not thinking at all.
Okay.
Because once you don't know what to believe, when you think everything is fake news,
right,
you can't make a decision.
True. Yeah.
Especially people that are so plugged in.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. I mean, I genuinely wonder because I've seen some people who the level of I would actually call it brainwashing, right? That they experience because they watch MSNBC, CNN, all these programs religiously, right?
Yeah.
Or these networks religiously, and these various programs on these networks that they just refuse to accept that they're being lied to. And Fox does it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say one side or the other, right? But Russia, and I don't know, that whole thing, man, right? And it's been rehashed. But to watch that every day being promised, Donald Trump's going down, Donald Trump's going down, Donald Trump's going down, right? It's just the Mueller report, the Mueller report, the Mueller report. And then it comes out. And the best that they're able to come up with is, well, kind of, sort of in it, he mentioned obstruction of justice, but you can't obstruct justice for a non-illegal act. That you have to have an underlying crime in order to obstruct justice.
Right.
That's the law. And that fact just.
Yeah. When Mueller goes, I didn't find nothing.
Right.
They cry foul.
Yeah.
When we come across Hunter Biden's laptop.
Ding, ding, ding. Right. And that's the other thing. They're being assured, right, by these talking head dipshits that Hunter Biden's laptop can't possibly be real because 51 intelligence community people signed this letter saying it was Russian disinformation or had the all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. The FBI goes to court recently and tells people it's real.
Yeah. And I'm not saying one way or another because I personally don't know if there's anything incriminating on there.
There's a whole lot of stuff on there. I haven't like gone.
Not for me to say.
Right.
What there is for me to say is, it was fine. You had this witch hunt for one guy.
Right. I should get that way.
That ended up being nothing.
Yeah.
And then the second, one of your boys, gets caught up in something, who is indeed a criminal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And not like the white collar, freaking country club prison criminal, but like, drug and gun charges.
Yeah. Yeah.
which we're going to get thrown out somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of these
Because,
sweetheart
even
deals.
though like guns bad,
Yeah.
oh, Hunter Biden's got one.
Yep. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though he's a felon.
Even though he's a felon.
Yeah.
Even though he's abuses drugs.
Right. Right.
And, doesn't pay his tax. There's an awful lot of talking points here
Right.
that we're just glossing over.
Yeah.
Like all
Yeah.
these talking points that, a certain side, uses as their rallying cry.
You're not wrong.
One of the kids of their, champions.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Gets caught up in those talking points. And
Yeah.
we're just looking the other way on that, huh?
Yeah. We're just going to
not-
pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, we're just gonna kind of like, whoa, hold up. You can't just,
Right.
you just can't, blow past that.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But it's not about the guns. Kamala owns a Glock.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course
Yeah.
you own a fucking Glock. You were fucking attorney general.
Right.
You were a prosecuting attorney. Okay, people are going to try to kill you. You're gonna want a gun.
Right. Exactly.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Am I supposed to be impressed?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were.
Or a very salient point is like, we're not trying to get rid of guns. We're trying to get rid of these weapons of war.
Yeah. Weapons of war.
Weapons of war. Only like the military should have those. Okay, so why does the IRS have them? Why do police have them? If the only thing that they're designed for is to kill a lot of people in a short period of time,
Right.
then why did the people who are supposed to protect us have them?
It's a good question.
I
good
don't
question.
remember where I saw that, but it was a very
It's true. Well,
might have been Colion Noir. I'm not sure.
it's
But
possible. He makes some really good points.
he does make some good points. He gets a little passionate
Yeah. Yeah. I can
about
see that.
it. And you have to nowadays.
You have to. That's what I've talked with Sean. I'm like, and you and I have talked about it. No more compromising. We've compromised ourselves into a situation where we have a candidate, a current vice president, a selected vice president, candidate for president who's talking about going door to door to make sure that your firearms are secured.
Mhm.
Well, how are you going to do that? They're going to have to come into your house.
Right.
So you're talking about forced entry because you're not coming in with my permission.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you permission.
You're talking about Fourth Amendment violation.
Exactly. And they're beyond proud of that.
Mhm.
Dude, fuck these people. I'm like legit compromising was done many, many years ago as far as I'm concerned.
And it's great that like they're big because the AR-15 is the
Oh yeah, it's so scary.
the boogeyman. Now.
Yeah, the boogeyman.
It's not meant for civilian use. It's
Uh-huh.
a weapon of war. The AR-15 was designed and marketed as a civilian weapon.
Exactly. It is not meant for extended battlefield use.
Armor Light when they made them.
Yeah, which is what AR stands for. You guys know this, but maybe someone who doesn't know will find out.
Yeah.
Armalite rifle model
15.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
AR.
The AR-15 was made, marketed, and sold as a civilian rifle.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason it's so popular.
It wasn't until that design was sold to Colt.
Mm-hmm.
Colt brought out that design.
Yep.
Because the military, opens up bids
Mm-hmm.
for I'm good. Opens up bids for, hey, we need a new battle rifle.
Yep.
What do you got?
Mm-hmm.
Colt went, we got this.
Mm-hmm.
And they made some tweaks to it to militarize it.
Right. Which made the
M16.
There you go.
Which is the military nomenclature.
Mm-hmm.
But, the AR-15, the original AR-15 did not have a selector switch
Right.
in as far as full auto operation.
Right.
That was something that was added for the military
Yeah.
because they wanted something that would, kill a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Right. Right.
you know.
Which, and the point that I've made, right, that I've made in the past, and I'm going to make it here again, is if your true goal, if your true honest goal is safety, right, then why, if you have enough money, can you have all the automatic weapons you want?
Mhm.
Am I wrong on that? You know a lot more about guns than I do.
Well, I don't know a
Well-
lot about, how that tax stamp works.
Okay. Okay. But
there's
here's the
something
thing.
like there's a time frame.
Right. Well, I will say this. You don't even need a special license or a tax stamp or any of that stuff for weapons made prior to, I think it's 1986. Full auto weapons, you can go buy an M60, but it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars to get it.
Yeah, I would have to look into that.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a gun law expert, but based on my understanding of the law,
Because by
at
that
worst-
definition, you could buy a Thompson submachine gun.
right, which they exist.
They do exist.
Yeah.
But I believe that's still considered a class 3 weapon
Okay.
that
But
you
I
need
will
a
say
tax
this.
stamp for.
Yeah. And that
Now,
was my next
anything
point.
made after 1986, I don't believe a civilian can just get a tax stamp and own. You need,
No, that's the thing.
like I said, I don't know.
Right. If you get a special license, right?
Mhm.
If you have a special license, I think it's like an FFL or something, federal firearms license. Yeah, there's some stuff you have to go through.
Like a class 3 license.
Yeah, but if you get that, which if you spend the money and you go through the stuff you got to get through with enough money, any problem is surmountable in this country
Oh yeah.
with enough money.
Mhm.
It's not, that's like all these states, right, who allow a carry permit or allow you to have a handgun,
Mhm.
right? But it just costs a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah, those shall issue states.
Yes. Yes. And it just costs hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars.
Well, I mean, look at like Illinois.
Yeah. That's
You know,
a great example.
You have to have a special license to own it.
Yep.
You have to have another license to carry it.
Right. Because otherwise you can just have it
yeah.
in your home.
But
But you need a license for that.
Yeah, and if it's not a certain type, then you need another license,
Yeah.
and even then, some places you just can't have it at all, regardless of how many licenses and how much money you spent.
Yeah. Yeah. It all comes down to money.
And the goalpost keeps changing.
Oh, of course. That's the other thing, right? They're constantly moving the end zone and changing, what's legal, what's not, what's right, what's not.
But like you said, if you got enough cash,
You got enough cash,
you
you
can
get
hire
yourself
a really good kicker.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? You have enough cash, you can hire the best kicker in the league, and they can tell you what the rules are and make sure it happens so that you can do whatever you want. It's just that simple. That's like these rich. Well, I can't think of the guy's name, right? But he actually pretty much got off, or at least a very greatly reduced sentence, because he was raised rich, so he didn't know how the world really worked.
Oh yeah, affluenza.
That's it, affluenza. Yeah, bruh.
Yeah, that's a serious mental condition.
All right, are you fucking kidding me? It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, and yeah, it happens.
The
time.
funny thing about that is a skilled enough lawyer can flip that.
Oh yeah.
So, like, if you can claim that, he can't possibly be held accountable for his actions because he didn't know any better because he was raised rich,
Right.
then why couldn't you go, well, this person can't possibly be held accountable for their actions because they were raised so poor that, this was their only record.
Yeah. Well,
It doesn't work that way, does it?
Right. Arguing that, though, I would argue that has been tried. And
To no avail.
No, it's succeeded to a degree, right? To a degree, because this person was abused as a child, and they were introduced to a life of crime by their deadbeat dad, who, you know, da 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 da
Yeah,
da,
but
and so they end up with a reduced sentence or going to a mental institution rather than serving
but,
time.
like, yeah, lots of things like slip through, but
Mhm.
if that defense was
Right.
honestly that effective,
Yeah,
that would
I
be
agree.
like, yo,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're
Yeah.
saying, but
you just activated my trap card.
right. Yeah, so it's ridiculous
Mhm.
the level of the tiered justice system and how if you have enough money, the
Yeah.
rules don't apply to you.
Mhm.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know?
And let's be realistic. Who has that kind of money?
Right.
Politics and criminals.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I read something and we'll kind of end on this, right? Do you believe that it's possible to have $1 billion+ and still be ethical? To have made that much money, not just be given it, but to have made that much money and still be ethical.
Like liquid assets. Like I have $1
Let's say
billion.
yes. Yeah, $1 billion worth of it. You've worked. Let's even say you started with, you know, a handful of $1 million, right? Whether through loans or whatever, but you didn't grow up a billionaire's kid.
So if you just grew up in like a middle-class family.
Yeah, a middle-class family, but you started your business and your business got huge
Mhm.
and you were suddenly, you know, you had assets worth over $1 billion. Do you believe it's possible
Well,
to make that journey and remain
let
ethical?
me cut you right there. This might cut that whole
Okay.
mental exercise short.
Yep.
I'm not sure that I believe that somebody can be that successful in business
Okay.
and not have a certain amount of ethical fluidity.
Right.
Like,
And that's what I'm hearing actually from millionaires,
yeah.
you know, multimillionaires and billionaires.
Mhm. Because the sad reality is to be good in business, you know, they talk about successful business owners
Mhm.
and millionaires and stuff like that
Yeah.
as cutthroat.
Uh-huh.
You
There's
got to
a
be
reason.
cutthroat in this business.
Yep.
You know, that's not just like, there's a reason they use that term.
Yep.
Like, you can't be nice
Mhm.
and make that kind of money. That's
Right.
not how the system is designed.
Right. Exactly.
It'd be nice if it was.
It
If,
would
like,
be. It would be. And it's one of the things that that I've discussed before insofar as like these lottery winners, or more importantly, the small to medium business owners,
Yeah.
they don't get ultra rich
Mhm.
if they're ethical and if they take care of their employees
Right.
and if they you know, if
Now,
they're
am I saying that, you know, if you've got that kind of money, you're a villain?
right. No,
No, I'm not
of
saying
course
that
not.
at all.
Right.
But you have to know how the game's played, or you're going to lose.
Right. And so then it begs the question, you know, what's your integrity? And it goes beyond integrity, though. It's not really integrity. It's like you said, cutthroat, right? Are you willing to be that way? And if you are,
Yeah.
you know,
You know,
what does that do for your
essentially
character?
looking out for your own interests.
Right. Which, you know,
And, you know, there's nothing wrong with looking out for your own interests.
right. But people don't. That's like they say that the pretend rich look rich.
Mhm.
The truly wealthy don't look rich at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's cases that will point to both.
Yeah. But in general,
Yeah, but
you
there's
know,
like the people that, you know, are so focused on the image
right.
of being rich,
Yes.
you know, wearing the thick chains and driving the fancy cars and
Mhm.
having the big wad of cash, which
Right.
probably has a whole lot of ones,
right.
you know, in
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Mhm.
There are those.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there's those people that got more money than Davy Crockett
Mhm.
that, you know, are just your regular guy,
Right.
You know,
Right.
like just wearing, you know, Wrangler jeans
Mhm.
and, you know, whatever.
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
just there's a. I hate to use this fucking. It's a spectrum.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
You know.
And in this case, you're right. That's the proper use
there's
of the term.
there's not a black and white here. There's
Yeah.
not the, you know, rich people bad,
Yeah.
poor people good. You
Right,
know,
right.
Like,
Yeah. I will tell you, I have met some truly scummy poor people.
Mhm.
And I have met at least one truly nice, very rich person.
Yeah.
So they exist on both sides. You know, I've met some seriously scummy poor people, man. I mean, like,
yeah,
straight up vile.
uh-huh.
But
You know, rich poor has nothing to do with the type of person you are.
exactly.
You know, in that regard.
Yeah. Well, we've talked before about these lottery winners, right? Who win their money and then, you know, 6 to 8 months later they're broke.
Mhm.
And it's like, whoa. And I think there's a huge number of them. I don't know exactly what the percentage is. You have to look that up. But there are a large number of lottery winners who say they wish they had never won.
Mhm.
And we talked about this just yesterday, where just because you win the lottery, it doesn't change your spending habits. It doesn't change the fact that you're bad with money. It doesn't change you.
Yeah.
You just suddenly have a whole lot more money.
Yeah, you know, it's like being a fish in a fishbowl.
Yep.
You're only going to get as big as the size of that fishbowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put the fish in a bigger fucking fishbowl,
Fish gets bigger. Right. Right. So if you have, for example, a problem with spending money
Mhm.
that you don't have,
yeah, that's not
going to
go
change.
away.
Yeah, that's not going to magically disappear because
Mhm.
you have
Especially
a lot more
when
money.
you get a lot of money all at once with very little effort.
Right. You
Now you
played the
just got
lottery,
like,
you won.
oh, look, all this money that, you know, I didn't have to do anything for.
Right.
Now I can get all the stuff that I always wanted, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The older I get, the less, like, I won't say the less appealing having a lot of money is, because that's bullshit.
Mhm.
It would be really nice to not have to worry about, you know, paying this bill or having enough for that bill.
Mhm.
But the less the frills mean, right? Because there was a time in my life where, if, for example, I had won, you know, $20 million,
Mhm.
right? I'd buy a Lamborghini. I'd buy I'd buy, you know, big, massive,
mansion,
ridiculous
yeah. Mhm.
mansion. None of that means much to me anymore.
Right.
You know, I'd rather have like a 63 split window than a Lamborghini,
Mhm.
or, you know, just as a, for example.
Yeah. You know, nowadays it's like, man, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a car that I don't have to worry about breaking down daily.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Something that runs, that, you know, I don't, it's time for brakes again, you know, that
yeah.
kind of
I don't
thing.
know, maybe something with a warranty,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
these
something
are
I didn't buy off of Craigslist for $800.
right. Oh my God, dude. Real quick, before we wrap it up, we had a friend that used to buy cars, right? And it was like a $300 limit that he gave himself. And that car plus, was it the same that he spent or double what he spent on the car that was his repair limit? Do you remember?
I think it was like,
I think it was like the same amount.
Yeah.
If he had to spend more than he paid for the car
Mhm.
on repairs, then the car would go
yeah,
to
the
the
car would get
junkyard,
crushed.
and then he'd buy another car
Mhm.
off of Craigslist or whatever, right? For like $350. And then once that car costs $350 worth of repairs,
Mhm.
to the junkyard, new car.
But that was back in a time where
You could get $350
you could
cars.
do that.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
that was back before the cash for clunkers.
Yeah. Which I
little
just
racket.
read about recently. They're doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched the fat electrician did a video about?
I haven't watched that one yet, but I did some reading.
Yeah, I did watch that. He breaks it down pretty succinctly.
Yeah. You guys should check that out. The Fat Electrician. If you haven't seen him yet, he's pretty entertaining. He really is.
Even though he's not giving us a dime for this.
Right. Yeah. No, he should though. He should collab, man. You know. Yeah. He's doing really good these days, man. He's on like unsubscribe, I think, or something.
Yeah, he's on the Unsubscribe podcast.
Yeah.
He does his own stuff. He's got his
Right.
merch line.
Yeah, he's doing
stuff
pretty
like
good.
that. And,
He
yeah.
doesn't need our help.
No, he doesn't need our help at
He
all.
doesn't need our help.
And for good reason. I mean,
Right.
he's just truly entertaining.
He is entertaining.
Just for like, if you
and I love the cameos by his wife. The
Oh,
little
yeah.
dynamic they have, you know,
Uh-huh.
it's good stuff, man. I enjoy Fat Electrician.
Yeah, he is incredibly entertaining, very knowledgeable, especially where it comes to like military history.
Yeah.
And things
I
like
really
that.
enjoy his military history videos.
Oh yeah,
Those are-
I've learned so much, and it's such an entertaining way that he does it.
Quack bang and all that,
Uh-huh.
all that stuff. All right, guys. That's all we got time for today. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully on time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America.
Amen.
I hope you have a great day. See you later.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.